going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of WWE NXT for June the 1st, 2020. We have the NXT TakeOver in Your House 2021 coming up in about a week and a half. A week from Sunday. It's approaching quickly. We are in June. Summer is upon us, and I'm just looking forward to July when we finally get back to a sense of normalcy in wrestling with both WWE and AEW going back to live touring. But in the meantime, we got NXT at the Capitol Wrestling Center. There are some fans for the shows. They do their chants. It does add to the overall atmosphere. Let's go ahead and get started with this recap. We kicked it off in a big way. We kicked it off with a triple threat match to determine Karrion Kross's next opponent at the TakeOver in Your House pay-per-view. It was Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Johnny Gargano. Action started hot right out of the gate, and Dunne was on the outside of the ring. He waited until the right opportunity to come in and take advantage of the situation, using his joint manipulation to both guys. And then Kyle O'Reilly got in some offense, doing a double dragon screw at one point. And then Johnny Gargano got in some offense, doing all of his dives back and forth to each guy. And then Gargano was able to counter the bitter end, turned it into a DDT, got a near fall, and just when you thought maybe we were close to the end of the match, we had Adam Cole, baby, making his first appearance in 2 months since that unsanctioned match with Kyle O'Reilly. He ran down and beat up everybody. He took out all three guys. He hit a last shot to Gargano. William Regal was furious. The commissioner, he came down there with security, kicked out Adam Cole from, I guess, the ringside area because Cole showed up later, and we'll get to that here in a few minutes. Israel Diaz says, found it strange that they kicked off the show with the triple threat match. Made sense what happened afterwards. Yeah, that's pretty much a giveaway. It's like an angle alert, a major angle alert when you kick off the show with what you think is the main event. And we learned that from Raw the other week when they started with Kofi Kingston versus Drew McIntyre. TJS says, skipped NXT, but here for the recap. Appreciate that, TJS. And he says, I'm sick of Adam Cole. I'm not sick of him. I'm sick of him in NXT, but we'll talk more about that and possibilities for what's going to happen next in a few minutes. By the way, if you're watching this live, thank you. And if you're enjoying the video, please share it. Share a link to this video on social media. Tell a friend. Would be very much appreciated. All right. We had Ember Moon coming down to the ring, calling out Raquel Gonzalez. And she said she'll hold this show hostage until Raquel comes down there. Raquel did make her way down to the ring, and then William Regal tried to stop them from fighting each other. And during all the chaos, there was a brawl. Dakota Kai came in from behind and laid out Ember Moon. There was a promo later on from Ember Moon, and she said she would be getting her payback. First, on next week's show, she'll be facing Dakota Kai, and then Ember Moon will be facing Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship at the pay-per-view. TJS says Cole and Gargano have been in NXT for like 20 years. Yeah, it certainly feels like that. Shout out to Colin Andrew, who is dealing with a little bit of a setback from his surgery. He got an infection, but our best thoughts go out to Colin, and hopefully he's home and feeling better sooner than later. Next up, we had the LA Knight show. LA Knight came to the ring, and there was no Ted DiBiase. Apparently, Ted DiBiase was watching in the back, and LA Knight said that there's only one man big enough to carry the $1 Million Legacy, and that's him. He had a match against Jake Atlas, and then DiBiase made his way down to ringside. So DiBiase not officially with LA Knight just yet. Knight got distracted by DiBiase. Maybe DiBiase was testing him. Jake Atlas got some momentum. And then Cameron Grimes came down and chatted with DiBiase. So I guess Grimes is not a face yet. You know what this reminds me of? And I'll get to this in just a second. First, let's finish the match. You had Atlas doing his cartwheel DDT, and he picked up, I guess, the upset victory over LA Knight. But is it really an upset victory? Because it seems like LA Knight has lost quite a few times. I wasn't a fan of LA Knight losing this. Jake Atlas seems like a nice guy, good wrestler, but I mean, Cameron Grimes, you could argue he's more of a star than Jake Atlas, and I think you can certainly argue that LA Knight is more of a star than Jake Atlas. So, yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of this finish. And after the match was over, Cameron Grimes was laughing. They had a Ted DiBiase interview and said that Knight definitely dropped the ball. And then all of a sudden we had Adam Cole storming to the ring. But before I get to that, let me just say my piece about this match. They announced that it will be Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight at TakeOver. And they're both fighting for the affection of Ted DiBiase. They want to be the $1 million champion or have the $1 million legacy. It kind of reminds me of when Shawn Michaels had a match with the model Rick Martel at SummerSlam 92, both of them trying to win the affection of Sherry, who was caught in the middle between them. It very much has that type of vibe to it. Caleb Jacobs is here with a $6.68 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. He says, I'm so understand why Ciampa and Gargano don't want to go to the main roster. The main roster is a career killer. Well, in Ciampa's case, I know he said something about the travel schedule he wasn't really a fan of. But with WWE cutting back, I always thought like this would be a good time for him to go to the main roster. And yeah, I think they know that there's a decent chance they might get lost in the shuffle, but money talks. And one would think that they would be in the main roster at some point. It's just a matter of when. Like, are they really going to be in NXT for the rest of their careers? Like, I find that hard to believe that they'll never leave NXT for the main roster. Maybe they leave NXT for AEW, who knows? We had Adam Cole, of course, storm to the ring, and he said that he is the real #1 contender. Everyone failed to live up to his legacy when he was gone for the 2 months. He sees right through Karrion Kross. Kross is nothing but a big, overrated muscle head. And that's when, of course, Karrion Kross and Scarlett interrupted. And Kross said that when he signed, Adam Cole, baby, was no longer special. And Cole responded by saying Kross will never be him. The brand has done everything to make Kross special. But Cole is special when the bell rings. And Kross cannot hang with Cole. Everybody in pro wrestling knows it. And Kross is just a guy that has his property. I was thinking like, dude, you thigh slap really loudly, which he did earlier in the show. And Kross should have called him out on that. And that would have been like the end of Adam Cole. But can't do that. And we had William Regal arrive, and Regal was like, nope, this ain't happening. I see what you're doing, Adam Cole. But Kross was like, he's fine fighting everybody. He's fine with fighting Cole, Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, and Pete Dunne. And William Regal was like, fine, the match is made. So at TakeOver, it will be a fatal 5-way match for the championship. I'm very curious about this one. This makes me think Cross is losing the title without taking the fall. Because if he beats 4 guys in one match, like, where else do you go with Cross from that point? Like, who else can possibly challenge him? I think Cross is going to jumpstart ahead of everybody and go to the main roster. I mean, I'm really thinking that Cross is the type of guy that Vince will push. And Cross has that superstar entrance for the main roster with fans. I feel like Cross is going to drop the title and just jump right up to the main roster. I really do. And that's why they're doing this 5-way match, so Cross looks as strong as possible in defeat. So many ways for Cross to win. And yeah, if Cross does win, like, he beat 4 guys, and who else can possibly fight him? So I feel like Cross has to lose this match now and go to the main roster. I was thinking maybe Cole wins it back, but I could see possibly Gargano winning it. Hell, maybe Kyle O'Reilly wins it. Like, there's a lot of possibilities now. I think the 5-way definitely makes it more unpredictable, because when the triple threat was announced for NXT, I thought, well, none of these guys I feel has a shot at beating Karrion Kross. But now that they're doing the 5-way match, like, it opens up the possibilities for Kross to lose without taking the fall. Hell, maybe Pete Dunne wins the title. Like, it could be anybody now. And I think that makes it a much stronger match when you really don't know who's going to win it. And that's what they accomplished by doing this. We had Drake Maverick outside the building with Everrise. I guess this happened earlier in the show. And they were confronted by Hit Row. And they were making fun of Everrise and Drake Maverick. And then Killian Dane got in Isaiah Swerve Scott's face. Easy for me to say. And I guess they'll have a match at some point. I'm not sure if they announced a match for next week or not. But clearly they're building up to something with those guys. We had a backstage interview with Candice LeRae, and she talked about Poppy, the singer, who's going to be back on NXT. Interesting. Are they actually going to do a match with her? Candice even suggested that maybe Poppy wants to be the new Bad Bunny. And meanwhile, you had Indy Hartwell listening to 80s power ballads, and Candice got her to stop doing that. And then later on, Dexter Lumis walked into the room and started listening to the music. So they're really slow burning this with the whole Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis thing. And Darren says, hey, Aaron, who do you want to be the one to beat Cross? Well, I mean, I would not have him take a pinfall to any of those guys I mentioned earlier in a one-on-one match. So, yeah, I would have him not be pinned and drop the title that way. And once Cross does go to the main roster, they got to do the squash match format with him. He needs a good 6 months of just beating people, lower card guys in squash matches. No need to throw him in there with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre right off the bat. Like, have him come in and do what Strowman did in 2016 and just destroy people as he works his way through all the guys in WWE until he gets to the top guys. Like, definitely slow build it. We had a little video vignette for Carmelo. I guess one day he'll be able to team up with Carmella on the main roster. They can form a little mixed tag team if they ever bring back Mixed Match Challenge. Anyways, Carmelo accepted Kushida's open challenge. They had a pretty good match here. Carmelo looking good in his first showing, but he did come up short. Kushida picked up the win with the hoverboard lock, and then they showed some sportsmanship after the match. All fine and dandy. And then we had an MSK promo to hype up the main event, the tag team titles match, them against Legado del Fantasma. We also had a Frankie Monet promo, just saying that she's just getting started. Last week was her first big win, and she's got more to come. We had a tag team match, the champs, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell against Zoe Stark and Zeta Ramir. Basically a showcase match. The faces got a little bit of offense in, but Candice and Indy did pick up the win. No follow-up on Dexter Lumis. That one little backstage appearance was all we got for this week. And we also had a promo from Mercedes Martinez. She will be facing Xia Li at TakeOver, and they brought up the match that they had during the Mae Young Classic, and Mercedes said that Xia Li is just a way for her, somebody in the way for her getting back to the NXT Women's Championship hunt, and said she's going to run through Xia Li at the pay-per-view. Something tells me that ain't happening, but we'll see. And we also had another video for the Diamond Mine. I guess that will be opening soon. What is this, NXT's version of Raw Underground? Like, what is this exactly? But I guess we'll find out soon enough. And of course, people thought it was like something for Tessa Blanchard, but I would not get my hopes up on that one. And we also had a promo from Ember Moon, and she said that, I already talked about that, so scratch that. I mentioned it earlier. Ember Moon going after Dakota Kai next week, and then she's got Raquel Gonzalez for the women's title at the pay-per-view. We had the main event, which was Legado del Fantasma against MSK. We had Santos Escobar at ringside. Martin says that the Diamond Mine might be a new Fight Club thing. Yeah, pretty much Raw Underground. You had the grizzled young veterans coming down to ringside to, I guess, get a closer look at things, but they were attacked by Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, and things broke down. MSK did some dives before the commercial break, and then after the commercial, you had Legado del Fantasma dominating the match for a while. MSK made a comeback, and there was a tag that Wesley did not see, and that allowed Santos to interfere because the referee was distracted. Santos threw Wesley into the steel steps, and Legado del Fantasma were very close to winning the titles, but Carter was able to break up the pinfall at the last second, and then Bronson Reed came down to even the odds. He bum rushed Santos into the barricade, and then MSK hit their double team finisher to retain their tag team titles, and the champs, all three champs, held up their titles after the match. Pretty solid main event. Overall, good NXT. I enjoyed the show. I would probably give it a B-. Not my favorite NXT, but I thought it was pretty solid. And you got some matches set up for the TakeOver pay-per-view. First of all, I'm not the biggest fan of doing that triple threat ending with interference. It's no DQ, and Adam Cole, I get that the guys were all worn out and tired, but the fact that he could just completely stop the match and there was no follow-up on it, like they didn't try to restart the match or anything, I thought was a little silly. But yeah, I thought that all in all, it was a pretty solid show. Ace and his Familia Vlogs gives it a B+. The Game is on 100 gives it a B-, and CC Drink with a B-. Israel Diaz gives it a solid B, and Martin Cruz, he liked it. He gave it a B+ as well. And Darren gives it a B+. Wade Kingston with a B-. That's all I got for NXT this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, no Dynamite. Dynamite will be on Friday night again, so I'm off Wednesday night. Thursday night, we'll have the No DQ review, and then, of course, Friday night will be SmackDown. And that's all I got until then. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time.